Australia.
Hello Australia and welcome to Bernardi. Thank you for joining me on this Friday night wherever you may be. This is the show where we identify the real agenda, we present the facts and we're never frightened of the truth. We've got a packed show coming up and I hope you'll stay with us. But first, I want you to know that I rarely watch the ABC anymore. You see, I just think it's too predictably biased. Anything the Conservatives do is wrong and anything the leftists do is somehow enlightened. Their presenters wear their bias on their sleeve. And almost every utterance, it seems that standards and accuracy and accountability have virtually been abandoned. However, I did actually tune in via iView in response to a column by Nicole Flint MP in The Australian this week. She tore into the ABC program Misrepresented. Now, clearly Flint is made of steel because she sat through the entire series only to conclude that, and I quote, "This utterly biased and completely unbalanced program is unacceptable." Now, Nicole Flint's clearly better than me because I had no intention of sitting through a whole series and I didn't even want to watch it until I did pick up a reference to me in that Flint article. So I sat through episode 2 of Misrepresented and I listened to people that I know whinge and whine about how hard it has been for them. As I said, I know some of these players, and knowing the players involved, I could only conclude what a bunch of self-serving hypocrites I was watching. I remember seeing one Liberal Party senator who was on this show being presented with a Christmas card by another MP in the Senate and throwing it back in his face and telling him where to go using spectacularly colourful language. And another time, well, I saw one of these victims standing over a member of the South Australian Liberal Party state executive, bullying him into changing his vote because he didn't vote how she wanted him to. Now, at the time, I called her out on it, which would probably be classified as misogyny now. But calling people out for their actions isn't wrong. It's actually the right thing to do. And yet few, if any of the ABC subjects, seem to do so when they could have done something about their gripes. They waited a very long time afterwards. Now, I believe that everyone deserves to be held to account, especially in our national parliament. But I can only wonder why these grievances weren't aired at the time. Clearly, some don't like being held to account, so when they're criticised for whatever purpose, they play the gender card or the race card, or if they haven't got any cards left to play, they just smear so that they can be sort of immune to criticism. And that's the conclusion I took from seeing some of the outrageous claims being made on Misrepresented. Now, of course, I refute completely the accusations made about me in the television show. And interestingly, I could have easily counted every single point had they been put to me before the show went to air. Now, to go through it all now and to say this is wrong and this is erroneous is a tit-for-tat game. He said, she said. I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to play those games. It would be seen as self-serving, as I consider the statements made by Sarah Hanson-Young were. But I do have a legitimate question. Why did the billion-dollar taxpayer behemoth air such statements without even the courtesy of checking with me first, or any of the other victims in the show? But in respect to what was said about me by Senator Hanson-Young, it's not like every statement that Hanson-Young has made over the years has been entirely accurate. After all, she thought the commercial television drama series Sea Patrol was actually a border force documentary. She put out a press release saying that Captain Cook landed with the First Fleet. He didn't. And she has struggled to identify the difference between Ray Hadley and Alan Jones. But all that aside, Rule 101 of journalism is that if someone is making an allegation about another, you actually seek a response from the aggrieved party. But when it comes to smearing a group of Conservative men, well, who cares about journalistic ethics? It's like a flathead swallowing a fake grub. The bait simply proved too tempting for the ABC. And the fact that the ABC has seen fit to broadcast such tripe suggests that Nicole Flint is quite correct. Their program, Misrepresented, would be better named Misrepresented or Extreme Misrepresentation. Now, over the years, I've come to expect very little from the likes of some of our politicians, yet I don't know why I still cling to the notion that we can expect better from their ABC. Unfortunately, this latest broadcast is only more evidence that the ABC has devolved further into a propaganda network, more akin to the Soviet Union's Pravda than a publicly funded broadcaster acting in the national interest.